Hello, everyone. I'm Jess Fulmer. I'm one of the school counselors here at Newton North.
Hi, I'm Jolene Filio, another school counselor at North.
And in this presentation, we are going to be discussing some of the various college application plan options that you will be considering as you are getting ready to apply to college.
All right, so most college applications open on August 1st on the year that you're applying. However, the deadlines may vary depending on these different plans that you see on the screens. There are so many options. There's regular, there's early, there's restrictive and non-restrictive. And keeping track of what all of these deadlines mean can be a little bit confusing. So today we're going to summarize and talk about pros and cons of each plan and give some examples of deadlines and requirements for each plan.
So the first category we're going to talk about are the non-restrictive application plans. And these plans, there are no conditions on the application. There's nothing binding about any of them. And the three that fall into this category are regular decision, rolling admission, and early action. So regular decision is basically a student submits an application by a specified date, and they receive a acceptance or denial decision within a clearly stated period of time. So most of the regular decision deadlines happen sometime between December and February, and most of the admissions decisions are made by March or April. So for all students, their final decision date that they have to make a deposit on is May 1st. And so that's something to keep in mind. The pros of regular decision are that the great majority of students are applying regular decision. Another pro is that students are able to compare their acceptance decisions and their financial aid packages from multiple schools, and that we have more information and the student has more information to send to colleges if they're waiting a little bit later for these regular decision deadlines. And this is good for a student who maybe wants to show some senior year grades or even an updated GPA, which happens after the end of our second term. So for some students, this really makes a lot of sense. One of the cons about applying regular decision is that students have a shorter window to make the decision of where they're actually going to attend. So if they're getting their results back in March and April, and they have to put a deposit down by May 1st, they don't have as much time to really think about what makes the most sense for them. They have to make that decision pretty fast.
All right, another option that is non-binding or non-restrictive is rolling admission. So what this means is that institutions review applications as they are submitted and render admissions decisions throughout the admissions cycle. So unlike regular decision, a lot of rolling admission colleges don't have a hard deadline. They may accept applications earlier and later in the cycle than other schools. However, submitting earlier is still recommended just so that you're assured of a spot. And sometimes if you submit early, there's also priority for financial aid and certain programs that might be more popular. So pros, some colleges accept rolling admissions later than May 1st. So if you don't hear from a college that you really want, you could still add another college that you might be excited about that does rolling admissions. Another pro is that if you submit earlier in the cycle, you also may get your acceptance early. Just like with a regular decision, you will have a lot more information given to colleges in terms of GPA, in terms of activities and grades and all of that. Some cons, it might be trickier to keep track of rolling admissions because certain programs within colleges may have hard deadlines. For example, a lot of nursing programs in different colleges do have hard deadlines, and admission and financial aid offers may vary depending on how quickly spots fill up. So this is why we recommend that you still submit early, even though they might be accepting applications later than other colleges.
And then we have early action. And basically this is a deadline option that students apply early. They receive a decision well in advance of a regular decision response date. Typically, the deadlines happen in early November. There's a few colleges in the South that have even earlier, October 15th deadlines, but most of the early action deadlines happen in November. And then students typically receive their admissions decisions sometime in December. And then students can just kind of hold on to that and make their final decision of where they're attending by May 1st. So some of the pros in this application option is that there is definitely more time to make a final decision. And for some students, they might be able to do more research to make sure that they know which schools they definitely want to attend, or even maybe get back to a campus and visit, and that you can compare offers from multiple schools. It really gives time to look thoroughly into financial aid packages and acceptance offers. The cons are that there's less information to send to colleges, so we wouldn't be sending first term grades until they come out. So oftentimes the application deadlines are before that, so we don't have senior year grades to send. And there's less time to actually prepare the application. So senior year happens very quickly in that fall. The deadlines come right up. So for some students, it creates a decent amount of stress if they haven't done some work over the summer. And then another thing just to keep in mind is that it tends to be a more competitive applicant pool that is applying early. So that might impact students' thoughts on whether they're going to apply early action.
All right, thank you, Jess. Jess talked about the non-restrictive application plans, and now we're going to talk about the restrictive application plans. And what that means is there are additional requirements in terms of where you are going to be applying and where you're going to enroll after you get accepted. So the two that fall under the restrictive application plans are restrictive early action and early decision. So restrictive early action is really similar to the regular early action. Students apply to an institution of their preference and receive a decision early. However, they may be restricted from applying ED or EA or REA to other institutions. If offered enrollment, they have until May 1st to confirm. So again, just like EA, most deadlines are going to be in early November, November 1st or November 15th, and admission notifications are sent out December. And you will have all the way until May 1st to decide where to actually enroll and put your deposit. So it's, again, in terms of enrollment, it's non-binding. However, in terms of where you will apply, that's where the binding and the restrictions come. Pros are, again, you get more time to make the final decision and compare offers from multiple schools. However, you cannot apply early to other institutions. And just like the early action, there's less information sent to colleges, less time to prepare, and you have a more competitive applicant pool. At the bottom of the slide, you'll see the colleges that do restrictive early action. So each of these institutions has their own requirements, has their own restrictions, and it is the student's responsibility to keep those restrictions straight. For example, for Harvard, you may apply REA for just Harvard, but not any other private schools. However, you can apply early for public schools.
And then we have early decision. So early decision is a binding agreement with one school. And basically the student is making a commitment to that one school that if they are accepted, they will attend that one school. And so the deadlines tend to be early, again in November. The student signs an agreement form, the parent guardian signs an agreement form, and the school counselor signs an agreement form, basically stating that we all understand that if the student is accepted, the student will withdraw any other application that they've already sent out. So the pros are that there is definitely an early certainty about where the student is going to college, because once you apply early decision, and if you are accepted, you know where you're going. Another pro is that demonstrating that commitment may give students a slight edge in the admissions decision, because it is showing the college or university that that is where the student has kind of decided and committed that that is the first choice school for them, and they know that they will be attending. And it's really a good choice for a strong applicant who has that one dream school that they really know that they would be happy attending and want to attend. As far as cons, there is, again, less information to be sent to colleges for those early decision deadlines in the fall. There's less time to prepare an application once we come back from summer break into senior year. So if a student hasn't use the summer to really get on top of their applications, it doesn't leave a lot of time to prepare a really solid and strong application. There's definitely a more competitive applicant pool that applies early decision. Again, you have to withdraw any other application that has already been sent out if you are accepted early decision. So if you're kind of on the fence and wanted to hear whether you got into a couple other schools, that is not an option. You have to withdraw any application that you've already sent out. And then the biggest con, in my opinion, is just that you're not able to compare offers from any other college because you have to withdraw all of your other applications. So financially, it's a little bit of a risk because the school knows that you're attending because you've signed that agreement form. And so you need to take whatever financial aid package they offer you. And it doesn't allow you the option to kind of compare from other schools what they are offering you. There are some schools that have an early decision 2 deadline. So, and that tends to happen later, like January. So if a student has applied early to some schools and has heard back and did not get into the school that they wanted, there is an early decision 2 option at some schools. A student can apply to the same school early decision 2, or if some student isn't quite sure at the beginning of the school year that they want to commit to one school, but then as the fall is going on, they've decided that that one school is where they want to go and they have an early decision 2 deadline. That is something just to kind of keep in the back of your head, that as you're looking through these schools, it is important to look at what kind of application options they offer at each school and to make sure that you are following the conditions of each one. But early decision is that binding, the one binding application agreement. So just keep that in mind.
All right, so that was a lot of application plans. So just to summarize, we talked today about non-restrictive application plans. So these are all non-binding, and under those, we talked about regular decision, rolling admissions, and early action. And then under the restrictive application plans, early decision is binding, which means if you get in, that's where you're going. And then restrictive early action is non-binding. However, there might be additional requirements about where you can or cannot apply if you are applying REA. So that's a lot of information to keep in mind. Make sure that you consult with your families, with your college counselor, and with your school counselor about which application plan makes the most sense for you and your individual situations. And make sure that you keep track of your own deadlines and requirements for each of the colleges that you are going to apply to. It's a lot, but we are here to help.
So please don't hesitate to reach out.
Thank you so much, everybody.
Thank you.